You're watching Global News Morning on Global Kingston. (8:21) on a Wednesday morning. Thanks for joining us. Our good friend Matt Lee is here to discuss real estate concerns, and specifically we're talking insurance, because different policies mean different things to different people, and you're going to help us break it down for us.
Well, I mean, the first thing that I'd like to say is that I always think it's a good idea to talk to a local person or a person in general that has the ability to come to the house, or the broker themselves. I mean, online.
What's the alternative?
Online is potential. There's 800 numbers for big companies that you can get kind of a reduced rate at, and I mean that's okay too. You will be covered. But my personal feeling, we have rentals in town, and we have our house, and we have vehicles, and all of it's used by local people, or is insured by local people.
Plus, you're getting that face-to-face connection.
There's a little more than that, and I had something happen the other day where somebody asked me a question about the difference between cost in an insurance policy.
They were quoted for two different insurance rates or policies.
That's right, and one was at $580 for $580,000 so like basically how they work an insurance policy for a house is that, God forbid, if something happened, a house burns down, how do we get this replaced, and will the insurance cover it?
Okay, so they were quoted at
$580.
Their policy, they would get $580,000 versus another policy they came across,
which was at $650.
Okay, obviously you want the $650. You want to be covered for more, right?
Well, you don't want to overpay either. So I think that's
because there's premiums involved.
Because there's premiums involved. Because basically, if you're paying for a higher replacement value, then you're going to be paying more in insurance. So this is why I say talk to a person, face to face or on the phone that you can trust. I mean, a broker, just like a mortgage broker, you want to be able to interact. They do have people that come out and will measure the house off, or they'll do different things. I think it's a good idea because we're going to show some examples of what the difference is and how it could lay out differently. So I think that it's a good idea to look at. So if we look at a two-story home, and this one's vinyl, let's call it $20,000 to replace that siding. Well, this jumped to a hardwood. So basically, hardwood and laminate's going to be a difference of $3 to $4 a square foot. Vinyl tile basically could be a rollout. It could be down to 99 cents or $2, and then you have a slate that's $8 a square foot. All of these things matter. So you have these people coming in and helping you out. I think it's a good idea. And then, is your basement finished? That's another thing. So it depends on all of these different factors and how well is the basement finished. Did it cost $10 to finish, or did it cost $40 to finish? And all these pieces come into play. And what happens is, like, a brick house costs $70,000 to brick, and it could be $20,000 to vinyl a house. So all of these factors come into play, and I know that you can fill out the online survey, and sometimes it is cheaper. But make sure that you know that the replacement value is there, because if something happened and it costs $650 to replace your house and you're insured for $580, then that's something you're going to have to take up with your insurance company.
Well, I think the natural inclination for any homeowner or home buyer when they're looking at insurance is, it's a lower premium, I'm going to go for that policy.
Yeah, and that's why I think it's a good idea to have somebody that's either sitting at your table or you're sitting in their office or something along that lines, because then you can go through the bits and pieces of the whole thing and say, okay, well, this is what the actual policy came out at. They do it every day. It's they're doing a certain amount, but it's not just pick up the phone, insure us for X amount of dollars and out the door. The other thing is I mean, sometimes if you are doing things where it's not interacting with people that are local or people that you trust, I think that you need to review your policy. If you've had it for 15 years, the cost of building 15 years ago and what they would have put in for might be different than now. So it's always good to have somebody review the policy and say, no, like it's not going to cost $500,000 to replace that house. Now it's going to cost $6, because our cost of materials in the past 3 years have skyrocketed.
Not just that, but if you have done renovations, if you have improved the exterior, like you said, if brick versus vinyl, if you upgraded,
anything,
the policy should reflect that.
Absolutely. So you want to make sure that you're covered. You don't want to pay too much, but you don't want, if something happened,
God forbid,
that you're covered, or have the understanding that, you know what, if something happened, I'm okay with this amount of money in my policy.
Okay. Yeah, and if you have any questions, very, very important to ask. It is your right to ask.
Yeah, absolutely. You can call me anytime.
Real Estate Tips, brought to you by Matt Lee of Royal LePage.